Right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the class.
Good morning, sir.
Good
Right.
morning.
Great. I want to believe that the number here, that is 57, including myself, we have the full class. Right. So we're going to go through Java programming, and for introduction, let me share with you, and also today being the first meeting, let me also share with you my video so you can see me, so that when we meet somewhere we can recognize, or you can recognize me. Okay. I hope you can see me.
Yes, sir.
Sir, can see you.
All right. So,
Handsome man.
okay, so the name is Prince Owusu Amoako. And if you would want to reach me by mail, you can use pamoako@gctu.edu.gh. And then on phone, it is 0243833345, which is also active on WhatsApp and Telegram. And you can also reach me by this 0235833345. That is also active on WhatsApp, but not Telegram. But for WhatsApp, I frequently check this, that is messages on the 0243 than the 0235. So whichever one you use, you can get to me. All right, it has been my practice that I begin every class with a wise saying or a quote, something just to set our minds thinking, because we're going to learn or try to understand some concepts. So today, being the first class, I want to share with you something important, which is from the most wisest man of all ages. It is stated that before him and after him, no one was able to exhibit the level of wisdom that he showed, and no one after him, including ourselves, will be able to also display wisdom that surpasses his own. And he gives us counsel. And since we are also going to seek for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, it will not be out of place to take the counsel from the most wisest man. So from one of his books, he writes in Proverbs 2:6-7, "For the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth comes knowledge and understanding. He stores up sound wisdom for the upright. He is a shield to those who walk uprightly." So, taking this, we can understand, or we are made clear that there is someone who gives wisdom, and this is that which the wisest man got his wisdom from. So he is directing us to go to that source, because when that being speaks, it is full of knowledge and understanding. See, the wise man is very careful. He did not end there, but to make it so clear that the wisdom that we'll go get from this being is not any ordinary wisdom, but a sound wisdom. And the caveat is that he gives to those who are upright. And when he has given you that wisdom, he wants you to be wise all through. So he will become your shield. He will also shield you. He become your buckler. He will defend you so you will not lose that wisdom. If only you will continue to walk in uprightness. And so as we go through our studies, I want us to have in mind or be reflecting always that it is the Lord who gives wisdom. And if we will go to him, he is ever ready to give us the sound wisdom. All we need is just open our hearts in doing what is right, and we'll have that. Right, per my religious inclination to, I begin every activity with a word of prayer. So let's pray. Father in heaven, we thank you so much for today, that it has been in your plans that as we celebrate Father's Day, we can also start learning Java programming for this class. We know that you who have granted us the privilege of studying, this time you also going to be with us in all that we'll go throughout this course. That every time we will meet, Lord, you're going to make knowledge and understanding be realized, and we will acquire wisdom in solving problems. We pray that, Lord, whenever we meet, let us have clarity in our discussions as you begin with us today. We also pray that throughout our course, you will grant us your favor by providing us good health and strength. Let it never be heard that any of us have been involved in any accident or danger or anything that could prevent us from continuing our studies and continuing our program. And so, Lord, we also pray for your blessings in our lives with reference to all our physical needs, our emotional needs, and every need that we may come your way with. And so, Lord, provide for us our financial needs, and let these blessings be extended to our families, friends, loved ones, and everyone who matter to us, so that we can enjoy absolute peace in studying as you also favor them. We thank you for an answered prayer. In Jesus' name, amen. All
Amen.
right.
Amen.
So
Amen.
we're going to look
Amen. Osofo.
at
Ami, ami, ami. Amen.
Java programming. And I want us to first look at this. By the way, if you would want to record the class, please feel free. Probably the course rep, you can record so that later if you want to play back, you can do that. So we're going to go
Thank you,
through
sir.
Java programming, and with programming, we know that it is a set of instructions that we're going to write to give to the computer to help us solve problems. But first, I would want us to understand or to refresh our memories on what the computer is all about. So what is computer? Any idea? In very simple terms, just tell us what a computer is, because that is what we're going to use in programming. If we can get clear what the computer is, we will be fine. Any idea? So I think at this point I can put my camera off so that even if you are recording, it will not be too heavy. Please, any idea what the computer is all about?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
We can simply say a computer is an electronic device that is used to store information or process information.
Great. That is wonderful. Any other definition? He indicated a computer is an electronic device used to store, process information. Any other? I
Hello,
need
sir.
some
Can I give a
keywords.
try?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Also my definition is a computer is an electronic device that computes program to solve our daily basic needs.
Okay. That's also fine. But I needed to get some key terms, though you have covered some of them, but you left some out. So when we talk of computer, you all did well. It's so wonderful response. What I would want us to realize is that the computer accepts data, process the data, and then output data. These are the three basic functions of the computer. It accepts data, process the data, and then output the data. So if we are going to write a program, and program is also all about instructing the computer, providing the computer with set of instructions that when the computer follows, will be able to accomplish a task. So in that case, we need to know how we can instruct the computer to accept data because that is the first thing it does. If you do not provide a computer with data, it will not be able to process the data. So the first point of contact with the computer is to instruct it to accept data. Then when you have given that data for it to receive, then you can also go ahead and instruct the computer to process the data. So all the instructions per how it's supposed to process the data, you need to provide it. Then you go further to write an instruction or to instruct the computer to provide the output, give the results of the process. Yes, as you said, it can perform some other functions like storing the data. Of course, even if you instruct it to accept, it is going to keep it for some temporal time or forever. So in that case, the computer still needs some sort of storage. Then even from the accepting of the data to the processing, there are some communications between the components that are responsible for processing and then that of the storing. So the computer has also the ability to transfer the data from one point to another. So if that is done and the computer has received all the instructions, and the instructions are basically arithmetic and logical operations. So when the computer has done all that, then it provides you with what you need. You also need to instruct the computer the output, how it should output the data. Very important. So these three are what we are going to learn how to do that. How can we cause the computer to accept the data? What are the steps of instructions we need to provide it to follow in order to solve that problem we have supplied the data for? And then how should we get our results when the computer has performed the processes? So to get understanding of these three important activities that a computer does for us with reference to programming, we want to look at a problem. And here we're going to write a program to determine the interest on a loan amount using the simple interest approach. And I want to believe that at least we all understand this problem. See, when the problem is given, the most important thing is understanding the problem. So we say that you need to actually define the problem. Here, it is a very simple problem, one sentence, or just you can say even a phrase. But if you are to design a whole application, probably school management system, see, it comprises sub-problems. So you will need to define the sub-problems and every part of the problem to get the clear understanding. And then you will be able to go further to ask the computer to accept, process, and output. Please, this is not, let me say, a lecture or a sermon. It is a discussion class. So when you want to ask questions, feel free. Just you can use the hand, any of that to indicate you want to ask question, and then I'll pause for you to. Or if you are unable to get that, you can even unmute and then just draw my attention. You will be able to I'll recognize you and you'll be able to ask the question. Okay, so if we are writing a program to determine the interest on a loan amount using the simple interest, then the first thing is to at least analyze the problem. So how do we solve simple interest? That should be the first thing come to your mind. You see, programming is not basically about just coding. If you do not establish the main concept of the problem, no matter how good you are in coding, you will not be able to provide a solution. So you ask, how do I solve simple interest? In its even non-automated way, if we are not using the computer, how do we solve that? We realize that in solving simple interest, the interest is obtained by multiplying the principal by the rate by the time, divide all by 100. So we have our principal, the interest being principal times rate times time all over 100. If you have forgotten, this is the formula for calculating simple interest. Now, to get how we can instruct a computer to do the activity, then we need to find out what are the input, what should be the data that we need to supply the computer with. So here, since it is a formula operation, before the computer can determine the interest, it needs to be supplied with what? The principal, the rate, the time, and we also have to provide the 100. Are we clear? I hope we are together.
Yes,
Yes,
please.
please.
sir.
Yes,
We
sir.
are following
Yes,
you
sir.
very close.
Great, great. So we use what we called input process output chart, in simple terms, IPO. IPO, so IPO chart. So in that case, we're going to list all the required inputs, the data we need to supply the computer with. So in this case, we have the principal, the time, the rate, and then the 100. Then we come to the process. The process is all about the computation. So we have the interest being equal to the principal times the rate times the time all over 100. Then our output is the interest. That is what we are looking for, and that is what if the computer performs this, should show us. So if you are able to do the analysis this way by constructing your IPO chart, then the next thing that you need to do is that the computer cannot just accept the data anyhow and work with it anyhow. You still have to instruct the computer on how to keep the data or receive the data. So we go on to provide what is known as the data dictionary. That is the input the process and the output we have gotten from the IPO chart, we need to provide the meaning. You know what dictionary is? Dictionary is all about giving us the meaning of the words. So here, having identified some data, we want to describe the data. So we will list all the data objects here. And then the first thing we need to do after listing all the data objects, which if we go back to the IPO chart, realize that we have the principal, the time, the rate, the 100, and then we also have interest. In some cases, we may get some derived data from here, which may not be found here nor here. For example, if we are writing a program to compute the average of, let's say, three numbers, we need the input as the three numbers, right? Number one, number two, number three. And then the average is the output. But before we can get average, we need to what? Compute the sum. So in this case, the sum cannot be at the input side. It can't also be at the output side because here we are looking for average. So that is what the program, the computer should output. But in the processing, we would have to compute what average. So the sum. So the calculation of the sum here will also require that we define the sum because any item that is going to be used in the process in our programming needs to be identified, and then the computer has to recognize it at each point when it is required to use it in any activity. So all those data which may not be directly at the input nor at the output, and then it comes in the processing field, we need to also describe them because the computer needs to track that also in its operation. So here we have the principal, the rate, time, our 100, and then the interest as the data objects within this problem. We can have thousands of data objects based on the complexity of the problem. Now, the first thing we look at is the data kind. What kind of data are we going to have for this? And basically, we have two kinds of data. The data is either going to be variable or constant. Variable in the sense that in the process, it can change. It will not be the same throughout the program. For example, if you're going to take the loan, you choose how much you would want to take from the bank, or the bank has varying amount of loans that they can give. So it will not be static. You can go for 1 million, someone may go for 2 million, someone may need just 5,000. So it depends on what you want. So it will be variable. The rate, the banks give their own rate and they change the rate anytime. So that is also not static. It is a variable. Then the time, you also can request how long you would want to pay, or the bank have maybe some times that they allocate per the amount you are receiving and per your maybe income. So in that case, the time will also be variable because some can go for 5 years, 10 years, 1 year, 2 years, and that order. So that will also be variable. But the 100, which is in the calculation, will always remain the same because the calculation of the interest, principal times rate times time over 100, that 100 is never changing. It will always be, so it is considered as constant. Then the interest, of course, will also be variable because if you are going to combine some variables with constant, definitely it is going to be what? Resulting into variable. Now, after you have identified all the kinds of the data objects, then you move on to the data type. What type of data? We have varying types of data: numeric data type, character data type, string data type. So these data types will tell us the kind of operation and the kind of data we can keep in the data objects. If it is a numeric data type, then we can do some arithmetic and logical operations on them. But if it is, for instance, a character or string, we cannot add, subtract, and do those arithmetic operations. The only thing we can do is some logical operations like maybe organizing them in alphabetical order in the from highest to lowest. So those are that which we can deal with such kind of data. So per the kind of operation or the data we're going to keep in that object, we also need to describe that or define it. So in this case, taking the principal, when it comes to the numeric data types in Java, we have uh, um, bit, which is just 0 or 1. Then we have byte, that is 8 zeros and ones. We have integer, which is a whole number or whole numbers, deals with whole numbers. And then we have float, which deals with whole decimal numbers, but with some few or just a single decimal place and not so big a space. Then we have double that deals with bigger numbers with bigger decimal places. So depending on the kind of data, the type of data you want to keep in that data object, then you can go for them. So for example, with the money principal, we can say that it's going to be maybe 1.77 million. So since it is possible to be bigger, we can make it double. And then with the rate, we can say that it is maybe 20.5, 15.2. So those ones are smaller data types. So we use that one. And then when it comes to time, we're dealing with years. So the time with reference to years is going to be a whole number. So you're taking the loan 5 years, 3 years. So we use an integer. And then the interest will basically be also double. The 100 is also a whole number. So we use an integer. Then we come to the data name, which is also referred to as the identifier. Now, in our codes, how do we want to call the data objects? Sometimes the data objects may be a whole sentence or a whole phrase, but not just a single word like this. If they are single words, you can just forget about any description with reference to the name you want to give. But if it's like the a data like maybe the years of service. You see, just a sentence, years of service. If you're writing all that, years of service, in programming, the longer you have your data names, the more errors you are liable to make. So we try as much as possible to limit the number of spaces, number of words or characters, and then choose a very simple data name so that we can easily type it without making mistakes. And it should always begin with a letter, right? And it can begin with uppercase or lowercase, or it can begin with underscore. So we giving the names that should reflect these names or these objects we have here. So we have the principal, read time, and then the 100 is used to divide. So we just call it div. And then we have the interest also. So to this point, are there any questions? If not, then we move on. Okay. Yes, I want to believe, or it is possible that some of you might have had maybe some prior knowledge in programming, but some may not have had. So to those who might have studied programming before, this may be wasting your time, but forgive us, so that all who have also never studied programming or have no knowledge in programming will also be brought up to speed. So please forgive. But as we go through, we will all get to the same level. Okay. So, having done the data dictionary, the next thing is to look at the steps that are involved to solve the problem. So, we need to also create what we call pseudocode or algorithm that is going to outline the steps required for the solution. So now when we begin or we start, the first step is to create memory spaces for the data objects. And so we refer to that as variable declaration. That is basically what programming terms have been following. So the first step is to reserve memory space for the data you are going to use in the program. So we declare principal as double. When we go to the actual codes, you see why these are very important. Then we declare rate as float, and you see that all these, we are just following what we have here. So since those are variables, we just say that we are declaring principal as double, declaring rate as float, then we declare time as integer, declare the div, which will also be of a constant what? Integer, because that is constant. We specify that, and you will see how we do that in the codes. So we also declare interest as double per the descriptions we gave. So when we are done, then since the div is a constant, we need to initialize it because it value does not change. So we have to provide a value. We do that so that we will prevent difficulties later when possibly the value has changed. So, for example, if we are working with some applications where let's say tax rate. Tax rates sometimes can easily change. But when you are providing the codes or you are designing the application, you should not just put the raw value like the 100 here in the codes, in the sense that if later it is changed, then it means you would have to go through the entire code wherever that value, raw value is, you change it. But if you have initialized it, like setting it at the earlier stage of your codes, when there is any change, because you are using a name, just a label of a memory space holding that value, you will not need to go through all the codes and change the 100 to the new value. But what you will do is go to where you have set it, just change it there. And because throughout you are going to use the label to solve the problem, you don't have challenges. Yes, correct.
Hello, sir.
Just a moment, please.
All right.
Please, just a minute. I had a call. Let me respond quickly. All right. Sorry about that. So we can continue, and I hope you are following the pseudocode or the algorithm. So after we are able to declare memory spaces for the data, then we begin to receive the input because we said that the computer receives data or accepts the data, process, and then output. So we begin with the input. So we need to let the user know that we want to input data. So we'll say enter the principal, then we receive it. And this is what we will follow in our code to solve the problem. So we enter the principal, then we have to accept it. And you see how it is done in the code. Then we also enter the rate. We ask the user to enter the rate because the user should see a prompt to enter the rate. And then we get it into the computer. And we called the space in memory when we were doing the data dictionary as rate. So we'll also get it that. And that is what we have declared here as float. Then we ask him to enter the time and we receive the time. So now after receiving the input, then we go on to what the next step, which is the process. So in this case, the process is to get the interest. So we processing the interest, which is principal times rate times time, all over the 100, which is being identified as div. Then when we are done, the next term or the next item is to output. So here we'll say the interest on the loan is interest. Okay, so the plus sign here is a concatenation operator. So there are operators which you will read on them. So we provide the interest. Okay, so this is how the steps will be in solving the problem. And at the end, we'll stop. I hope it is clear. Okay, Elvis, please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Yes.
Sir, please, with the setting of the interest, can we do it after we have set depth as 100, or it's not done that way?
Okay, so if you will, thank you so much for that question. Very intelligent question. If you follow well, the whole programming is input, process, output. So you get to realize that here, the setting is just providing the actual value, which we already know that it is 100. But with the set of the interest here, we don't know. We are going to compute. How do we compute? We should get the values of the principal, the rate, and the time, as well as the div before we can do the computation. So if we are setting it here, then how do we get these values to do the computation? So you always need to input before the process, this particular process can come. But with the set of the div, it is a constant value which we already know. All right. So that is why we can set it here. But for the interest, we cannot set it here because we need to receive the principal, the rate, and the time, and that we can do the computation of the interest. Does it make sense?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Great. Is there any other question? If not, then we are going to convert this to our codes. We will do another when we go on at our next meeting because we will be looking at the various concepts. But when we have done that, from there, we will be basically going on the main programming. But this is to give you how you begin solving every problem. If you're able to do this, then the programming becomes very simple. As I've already stated, it is not about the codes. It is about the understanding of the problem. That is the main thing, because for the codes, we are just going to learn the syntax and semantics of the language. So if I may state it this way for you to follow. For example, if you have been called to China to deliver a speech, what do? You don't understand Chinese. Neither can you speak Chinese. So what do? You will not go, isn't it? No, you can go and deliver the speech. But what you are going to say is the most important thing, isn't it? So you can write your speech in your local dialect, maybe Gan, Eve, Chi, whichever, or in English. Because when you go, there is the possibility of getting a translator. But the most important thing is, what are you going to say? That is what you will need to know. You need to outline. You need to write it down. So that is why we have gone through this. Taking the Java language, we just need to understand the syntax and semantics. It is just a translator for what we want to say, what we want the computer to do for us. Are we together? So now that we have built this up and we now able to do the analysis of simple interest, let's now use the Java programming language to solve the problem. There are different kinds of IDEs, that is integrated development environments. What do we mean by that? With reference to, for instance, here we are having PowerPoint. PowerPoint is an IDE which we use to type or create some slides or presentations. We have different kinds of tools that we can also use to create what presentations. Some use Canva. All you need to know is how do we use that. So for Java, we can use IntelliJ, we have VS Code, we have NetBeans, we have what quite a number of them, which you can use. This one, the text editor, even TextPad or Notepad, you can use all that to write your codes. All right, but I would want us to use NetBeans or VS Code. So, why probably I normally use NetBeans is that if I am able to get to programming with Windows application, that is creating a GUI, graphical user interface program, that is creating something like the interface of PowerPoint, or creating an application that a user can interact, not necessarily only the console, but for now we'll begin with the console. I love using the NetBeans. So for the our discussion today, if you have the VS Code, don't worry, you can use it. Okay, if you have Notepad, you can use that, any of them. All you need is to follow the syntax and semantics of Java programming language. So I want to use the NetBeans. So if you don't have Java IDE on your laptop, please, this is a practical course. So what I would want you to do, yes, you will see the screen, don't worry at all. What I would want you to do, if you want to use the NetBeans, I want to quickly show you how you can get NetBeans or VS Code. I hope you can see the screen now. NetBeans download. So you go to the Apache site. I hope you can see. So you can download your Java NetBeans, all right, the version that you would want. But before you can do that, install the IDE. Here you download it and install. You will also need to get the JDK. Even with so any one of them, you can download the latest. So you go to Oracle, and then you can download your JDK. So I hope you're following. So you need to install the JDK first. That is, sorry, just 21. So you get your JDK, Java Development Toolkit. When you download the JDK, which you can get them here based on the type of machine you are using, you can download the JDK, install it, and after installing your JDK, then you can come to the Apache group and then you install your NetBeans. If not, and you want the VS Code, you can also download VS Code, okay? Visual Studio Code. But with that too, you first need to install your JDK. So when you you download the Visual Studio Code and you install it, then you go to the extensions. And when you go to the extensions, you click on extensions, you can also do the installation of the Java. You look for the Java platform extension, and then you can install that. When you install that, then you can go on to complete the installation. So whether for Mac, for Windows, you see they are all there. You can do that. So you will need to do the installation. You can also, if you are having some difficulties, you can just search for how to run Java codes in VS Code, how to run it in NetBeans, which we will do that today. And you can get video or test steps to help you with do the installation, do the running of codes. So for today, I would want us to deal with the NetBeans just to begin. Right, so let me now share NetBeans platform with you. Yes, I hope it is visible. So that is the NetBeans environment when you do the installation. And it is very easy to work with when it comes to dealing with graphical user interface programming. That is why I want to introduce you to it so that when we are chance to get to the graphical user interface programming, you can use it, meaning you can create all these tools, all right, the menus and all the icons, you can work with them. That is what we mean by graphical user interface programming. So here, we want to solve the problem. So now using NetBeans, we just go to File and create a new project. I hope you can see everything on the screen. I wish the screen is working. Hello, can you see
Yes, sir.
the...
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Okay.
that's fine. So, okay, not waste time, let's continue.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
okay.
bye. I'm coming there, okay? Bye.
Okay. Please, just a moment. Okay, these guys are in now. Please, just a moment. Let me send this. And these guys are in now. Yes, boss. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
No money, my. Nearby,
Omaba. No, you no. There's a room with board.
okay.
And me so many key number. Oh,
Okay.
sorry, yeah.
But we didn't have Fabra.
Eh,
Fabra, never cheerful.
yes, boss.
What's every morning?
Morning.
What's your real home?
Yeah.
Hey, see, I tell
Prof. Chami bien.
Class.
The national students in Babu.
Oh no, say me, I'm better me. Share. Brahma bre. Oh, yes, you know, so you know my bre.
And then maybe I am a course do I want to.
Okay.
I
See, maybe it's here now.
am a
Yeah,
course.
sure. Sure. All right, so let's continue. Sorry for that interruption. So we creating our first application using the NetBeans. So you select Java with Maven. That's what we're using. So if we were to go for the graphical user interface, we will not use that. We'll use a different category. So when we have selected Java with Maven, then we are going to create an application. So you make sure that Java application is selected. All right. Are we there?
Yes, we are.
Yes, sir.
That's fine.
Great. All right. So when we have selected that, then we go next. Now we are required to provide our project name. So let's just call it my interest calc. So my interest calculator, you can shorten it. It's just a name you are giving to the project. And again, you could see that here there is a field project location. So in order for you to easily trace where you have your project saved on the system, you can have your or create your directory, that is create your folder and keep all your projects in there. So I would want to do that. So I'll go to, let's go here. Then I want to just create a
Hello, sir.
folder. Mhm.
Sir,
You want to ask a
please, we are not
question?
seeing
Sir,
you.
Yes.
please, we can only see the net being
Hey.
interface.
Sorry. Let me show the entire screen. I think I selected a window instead of entire screen. Good, that is the best. So now you are able to see the entire screen, isn't it?
Yes, please.
Yes,
Good. So let's go back to this. So now I said I want to create a folder so you can go on anywhere you want it. So I want to create a folder here and call it distance. Let me say dist dash try dash 2026. Good. So I have this folder, and that is where I would want to keep all my applications that I will create.
Sir, please, can you go back a little? Looks like we missed the steps you followed to get to this place.
Okay, no problem. I will just cancel it. Cancel this as well. So I stated that you go to File, New Project. The same icon can be seen here. You can see the two is here. So File, New Project. Then we select Java with Maven, then Java application, right? Then we click on Next. Then we provide a name, and we said we want to call it My Interest Calc. Okay. Then we come to the project location. We click on Browse. and I have already created a folder and I called it, let me see if I'm there. So document, good. So I called it dist try 2026. So that's what I want to keep all my files. So I open that folder and then afterwards I'll say finish. Okay, I will need to go back, get the folder. Okay. Good. Now, what we seeing, okay, let me expand it. I hope you can increase it at your end. I don't want to do that here. You can expand your screen or you can press, I'm using Control plus plus. Okay, like this, you can increase it. But I hope you can see clearly what we have on the screen.
Yes, sir.
Great. So now this gives us the Java program structure. Now, the Java program structure, we consist of the package statement, then the class, then you have your main method, and then within the main method, that is where, for now, we'll be having our codes. So you could see that they are blocked. That is, the class is the same name as the project name. You can see that my interest calculator. So the file for the project should be of the same name as the class. So if you are using an IDE which does not automatically provide you with the application structure, when you are typing, then you can have the package, then you give the package name, then you come to the class name. So if you're using probably Notepad++ or you're using Sublime Text, you would have to provide these. You type them yourself. Okay. So you make sure that the name of the class is the same file name. That is, when you are saving the file, you save it with the same name as the class. Okay. Then you have your main method. So within the main method block, which starts from this curly bracket and ending here, which is also within the class, which starts from here and ends here. Now, in Java, unlike some other programming languages, you will always have to have at least one class in your codes. Otherwise, the program will not run. And then you will also need to have the main method, which serves as the execution point of your code. So for the code to execute, it starts executing in the main method. So without the main method, your codes will not run. Are we together?
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Please, I wanted to ask the package, the public class, are they automatically like written when you create the project, or you have to like write them yourself, like from the very first line to the public
Yes.
class side?
Good. That is what I was explaining, that if you are using the NetBeans, it comes by default when you create the application. But for instance, if you are using this Sublime Text, which you can also use in creating your application, yes. They are not back. Uh, So with the NetBeans, you will have this created for you by default. But if you're using an IDE like the Sublime Text here, then you would have to begin with your package statement, right? So you have your package, then you give it your package name, maybe new package. Okay, then you follow with your class, which I stated that the class name should be the same as the file name or when you save the file. So here we have our public class, then we make it my. Hey, is this person in the church? So we called it my interest calc like this. So now and that should be a block. So it begins with this and then open. Then we also said that you need to have your main method. So public, static, you will get the understanding of these, which they are called modifiers as we progress in the course. Okay. So public, static, void, main, then it has string arguments, which is also a block. So you open it like this. So this is basically the structure of Java program. Package statement, we have the class, and then the main method. Okay, so if you are saving, then I copy this, the name. If you are to save this, then we need to save it with the name of the class. So if we're using this, then here we're saving it as my interest calc. Do you get it? And then you can save it wherever you want to keep it. Okay, so you see that now it should clearly the oh, sorry, we are creating a Java application, so we need to save it with that extension. So dot Java. Okay, good. So you see now when we saved it as a Java application, you can see the keywords are clearly shown. You could see that. Hello, can you
Yeah,
see?
we are
So
following.
this
Yes,
means
sir.
that when we run this application, it is going to be seen as a Java application and it will work perfectly. So it depends on the IDE you are using, but the format always, the structure of the Java program is the package statement, class, main method, and then within the main method, you can have your codes. All right, so now we're going to solve the problem of calculating simple interest, which we have already had the algorithm. Good, we are back. Just a moment. All right, so we're just going to follow the pseudocode or the algorithm we have had for the interest problem. So now we first do what? Let me just take this out first so that you will not be confused. Per the algorithm, we need to do the declaration, isn't it? We declare the variables. So see how we do the variable declaration in Java. It follows with the data type. So the first is the principal, which is double. So we have what we call comments. So this is single line comment, which I can use that to tell what we're going to do. And comments are not part of the codes. They are just used to comment on the codes. That is to just give explanation to the code so that anyone who reads the code will be able to know that this is what you have stated here in the codes. They will not run as part of the codes. So we can put it here that variable declaration. So we begin with double principal, right? Then we terminate it with a semicolon. Then the next one is the rate, which is float. So we say float rate, right? And then we also have the time. So that is also integer. So we will have it as int time. Then finally, we have what? The divisor, which we just called the div, which is also an integer, but it is constant. So see how it goes. So that is going to be final int. So in Java, if a value is constant, we begin by declaring it as what? Final. So final int div. Then we can supply the value. We can set it to the 100. Okay. So now we are done with the variable declaration. So after the declaration, what do we do? We get to receive the data. So in receiving the data in Java, we can have two ways. One is to use the scanner. Another is to use the J option pin. So we're going to consider the scanner for today. Yes.
So you didn't declare the interest.
Yes, we have not done that of the interest. Thank you. We need also to declare the interest. So that is double. Great. This means you are actually following. So double interest. We did that here, you see, but I excluded that. Very good. It means you are actually following. So now we can ask the user to provide us with the data. And I stated that we can do it by using the scanner or the G option pin. Today we want to use the scanner. And in using the scanner, we need to now I will introduce to you another part of the Java program, which is the import statement. What are they for? There are some inbuilt operations that you do not have to worry yourself to create before you can perform a specific operation. So when it comes to the input, as I stated, we can use the scanner or the G option pin. And before you can use the scanner, you need to make that package of the scanner as part of your codes. And so we use the import statement to help us get access to those libraries within the Java application. So we say import Java dot utility util dot scanner. Okay, sorry. Package statement, then import statement. Okay, so we have the scanner. Now you could see this is being underlined. It indicates that we have created it, we have included it, but we have not used it. So now we're going to use it. Look at how we use it. To get access to the members in this scanner, we need to do what we call instantiation. We create an object of the scanner class. And this is how we do it. You use any object. So we can say scanner, then the object follows. So we can just call the object input, since we're going to use it to input, equal to scanner. As we go further, you will understand these better. But for now, let's accept them as some construct we use in the codes. So scanner, we have scanner input equal to new scanner. Then within it, we have system dot in. Okay, then we terminate it. So this is what we refer to as the object creation. So we have created object. So let me comment that. We can begin.
Hello, sir. We can't hear you.
Forgive me for today. It will not be so always. Had a meeting with my system development group. So we're having a meeting today. So let's continue. We will be done soon. All right. So now we said that we're going to use the scanner to help us accept the input. And in Java, we have two. You can use the scanner or the G option pane. So for the scanner, you need to import the utility package. We could have, instead of saying import java.util.scanner, which is specific, we could have just forgotten about this and then say that dot star. That means we are including all the classes within this package. That is the utility package. So you see, it still works that way. Are we together? But if you know the package that you specifically want to use, then instead of using the star, you can say scanner, right? So now we create an object of the scanner class. After creating, so this is what we actually need to work with. But this is the construct for us to get access to the scanner objects or the scanner members. So now we have created the object of the scanner class. So we can begin with the, yes, Rogers.
Yes, sir.
Inputs.
Sorry, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, please. At the top, the first line at the top. What does that statement mean? Com dot my
This,
company dot.
this. That is the package statement. I explained that Java application, you remember when I was using the Sublime, I did use that to explain that that is the structure of the Java program begins with a package statement. Then, let me even modify this. It also continues with the import. So we can say import java.util.star. So you see, it is giving us all that because we have saved it. So we can just say dot star and then we terminate it. Then I have the two dots. Yeah. So that is the structure. So the package statement, import statement, then we have our class, we have our main method, right? That is the structure of Java program. So the package, now,
Okay.
the package here, when you create your application, just as we are able to access this scanner, this utility is a package. So there are some programs within it which you can add to your codes. You don't need to worry yourself to code everything. The developers of the programming language have already made some codes available that you can add. As we go along, there are some maths utilities or maths structures, like you want to find the square root, power. All these, you don't need to do it hard code. You can just import the maths package and then you get access to. So when you have also created this simple interest, we can also package it and then add it to the application. So next time that we want to write any program that requires to use the interest, we will not need to code the entire interest again. We just include it as a package, create an object of the interest, my interest calculated class, and then we can use it. As we go further, you understand when we get to classes, okay, you will appreciate the package and then the import statement so well.
Okay.
But for now,
Please,
it is just the folder that we have our application we are creating to store in. So our whole application is stored in this package. Does it make sense? Can we continue?
yes, please. Understood.
Yes,
All
please.
right. So here we want to now receive the data. So input the data. Then we can use this system.out.print. There are so many of them, but I want to just use the print line. So this is a construct. When you want to display something on the screen, whatever you want to display, you can use this construct, system.out.print line. Print line means whatever you print on that line, end it there. Don't allow any other output to continue on that line. to just print this as a whole line. Okay, so now what do we want to print? We want the user to now see what to enter. So we can say that, please, what amount of loan are you taking? You can put it anyway. You just want to give the user a prompt as to what it needs to respond to. So here, the user is to enter what? The principal, isn't it? Because that is the loan amount. So when we have asked the user to enter the principal, the loan amount, what do? We need to accept it into the principal value here. So for me, I always like copying and paste so that I don't type it wrongly. Because if you make mistake in typing it correctly, you get an error. So we'll say that the principal is going to receive that value, isn't it? And that is where now we need this input. So we will say that input dot next. What is the data type? The data type is double. So we're going to use next double. Okay? So this allows us to get the value that the user will enter. When the user sees this, please, what amount of loan are you taking? Then when he enters 1 million, it is going to be stored in what? Principal. That is the first input. So we go to the next input, same system.out.print line. Then we going to say that please provide the rate. Okay? So now, who can tell me what I should type? We have received the rate, good, is equal to
Input. Float double. Next float.
Next float. Good. Because the data type is float. So we go for next float like this. All right. So we can do for the last one, which is the time. So we can just, to be on the safer side and do it faster, you can copy and paste. And all you need is just change it to, please enter the time. So this is, the time is what? Integer. So since now we know what to take, we'll say dot next int. I hope we are clear on this.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yeah.
So now we have received all the input. So after receiving the input, what next? Process, right? Process the interest. And the interest processing is very simple. It is this. Yes, please.
Please, the one we just, the previous line 35.
Okay.
It's time equals input dot.
Thank you. Thank you. Not the rate. Good. So now the interest will be equal to our principal, which is here, isn't it? Multiply. We use the star for multiplication, not x, okay? Times rate times what?
Time.
Time. Then we divide all by the 100, which is called div. Then we terminate it. So after process, what next? Output the results, isn't it? We output the results. So how do we output the results? I've told you what you want to show on the screen. You can say system dot out dot print line. We can now see that the interest on the loan is, then we space it. And remember we said plus what? Plus what? The result is calculated and stored in interest. So we put interest here. Simple, straightforward, and easy, isn't it?
But so what about the price? And the plus why?
I explained that the plus is a concatenating operator. It is not addition here. When you use it in this system.out.println, line, it is concatenating operator. When you are displaying, you want to join.
Yes,
We want to join the content. So you see, now the green, it shows that what the output should be, whatever you see in the green will be exactly that which will show to the user. But here, the dark one, the black, you see, it is not green, but it is also in the bracket of the system.out.println line. This means we want to output the exact value, the content of this interest. But whenever you put it in quotes, it is outputting a string. You are outputting the very text that you want to show. But here we are displaying the content. Does it make sense? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir,
sir.
it does. It does. We
Yes,
get it.
please come again.
So,
What we're
sir,
seeing is that with the system.out.println line, what we see in the green, you see it, they are always put in double quotes. Whenever you put something in double quotes, it means you want that text you have typed to be displayed exactly as it is. But if you don't put it in quotes and it is in the system.out.println line, like the interest here, then we want to show the content of this. We see it as an identifier, a label of a memory space. So what is stored in that memory space is what we want it to be shown, and not necessarily this text interest. But the interest is a label to a memory space. So when we put it this way, it should show the content of that memory space. Are there questions? If no questions, then we will run it and then we'll be good to go. But don't worry if there are some unclear things you could not follow completely. As we progress, we'll solve more questions and you will get the hang of how to program in Java. It is not difficult at all. But always you begin with the problem analysis. Make sure you have, so you can see from here that it is just input, process, output. And we follow the algorithm, which says that first do variable declaration, which the variable declaration, we just using the data dictionary, which had the double principal float for the rate. We define all that, the data types. And then we're saying that we use scanner to do the input. Next time, we can use the other one, that is the J option pin for the input. And in using the scanner, what you do is you need to import the scanner package. After importing it, you create an object of it. And then you can now begin to accept. And when you are asking the computer to accept, the user should see the prompt. So we ask the user, or we give the user a message to respond to. So when the user responds, then the computer will accept and keep it in the memory space, which we have created for each of them. So here, the variable declaration is all about creating memory spaces for the data we are going to work with. So now let's run this application. So there are tools here.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Please, I wanted to ask the X with the colon on this one, the system out.
These ones, yeah, they are default. The NetBeans comes with it. It's just showing you that you need a string. It takes a parameter of a string. So that is. So for instance, you could see here source. I didn't type it, came by itself automatically, meaning that the source of the object we are creating is also having a parameter of system.in. Okay. Okay, if that is clear, then we're going to compile it first. You can use this icon, or you can come here and use this to do that. So we click on compile, then it is compiling. You can see, let me, so it's compiled, it says building or compiled, it has built successfully. So when you do, and you get this green message, build success, it means you don't have any error. If there were errors, you see these codes being underlined. So after you have compiled, then you can run it by clicking on this icon. So when we click on the icon, now it is asking us what do we see? Please enter the loan amount, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So let's enter any amount. Let's use maybe some small values so we can actually get the result. So let's say 20. Then the user is entering. So when you provide a value, you press enter. So I press the enter key. Then it goes to the next prompt. Please provide the rate, right? So
Yes,
let's
sir.
see the rate. Let's just say 5%. Then we press enter. Then it says, please enter the time. Let's say it's for 2 years. So I put 2 there. Press enter. The interest on the loan is what? 2.0, because 20 times 5 will give us 100. Times 2 will give us 200. Divided by 100 is what? 2.0. So you get it clear. Very simple, straightforward, and easy. I hope you have followed. So
Yes,
you
sir.
can use this NetBeans if that is what you would love to use. And because I want to, if possible, we get to the Windows or GUI application, this becomes a good point to do that. If that is what you are interested in, use that. If you have already installed VS Code, you can also just install the JDK, and then in the environment, you make sure that the JDK is running there, and you can run your Java codes there. Or you want to use the Sublime test, and afterwards you use the you run it at the command prompt. You can do that, but I want to make it simple using the NetBeans. So since you saw that, I can share the links with your course rep so that you can also do the download of the JDK and the, or should I put it on the chat here?
No, sir. Please,
No,
I
sir.
think give it to your course rep. That would be because maybe when the video ends, it will disappear from the chat.
Okay. So I've also shared the course material. Let's concentrate on just a single material, but we have also developed a module that simplifies everything for you. So that will also, I'm sure the school will share with you. So I've shared with the course rep, with the course material as well. So you can download and then install the NetBeans. I hope you are okay. If nothing more, we can end it here.
Yes, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Please, is there a specific version you would like us to download for this one, the JDK?
The JDK. Oh, if
I'm seeing two versions there. Like I think the 17 and the 21.
21. You can go for the 21 because I think the NetBeans you will download will also be current so that you wouldn't have issues.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Hmm.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, please, with the rate, can we define the rate in the code? So in case, let's say, you don't want the user to provide his own rate, you want to provide a rate automatically. Can it be defined in the code?
Okay. Sure. Anything that you do your analysis and you realize it is something that is not required for the user to provide, you would have to provide. You set it up. So you make it just like we have the divisor here. And whenever you know the value, that is the best way to go. Make sure you initialize it.
Okay.
I hope it is clear.
So, yes, sir.
Mhm.
So with every constant, you have to do it final int.
Yes. Yes. Not
Okay.
int. It depends on the data type. So the rate here is
Okay.
float. So in that case, it will
Okay.
be
So
final float.
final float. Okay, sure.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right. So I hope that is clear. Then we will continue, God willing, next week, right?
Yes,
We
sir.
are meeting next week, right?
Yes, please, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So enjoy your day. Bye then.
Bye.
Bye.